Meanwhile, opposition leader Mike Nahan was with Liberal candidate Alyssa Hayden accusing Labour of breaking a promise to fund the Tonkin Highway extension. The federal government have provided $253 million in the 2018-19 federal budget for the much-needed extension of Tonkin Highway from Thomas Road to Southwest Highway and other developments, Dr. Nahan said, yet. Despite entering this agreement with the Commonwealth to co-fund the project, the McGowan government are not committing any funding for the extension of Tonkin Highway. Inside baseball. Although both parties have said there have been no deals, both the Liberals and Pauline Hanson's One Nation will be preferencing each other above Labour in Darling Range. This means, voters who follow phone candidate Rod Caddy's How to Vote card will wind up bolstering the two-party, preferred vote of Liberal Alyssa Hayden. There were also allegations Labour was running a grubby dirt unit after its electronic fingerprints were found on Alyssa Hayden's leaked Liberal Party candidate endorsement application. Wadaday also came across Darling Range secret polling commissioned by a public relations firm showing Labour was doing better than many believe. But Labour insiders say it's not their research. Both parties still claim underdog status. Two stories about the frayed relationship between the WA police union and the state government broke this week. On Thursday, a former WA police officer vowed to set up a tent city protest outside state parliament to highlight the shocking treatment of medically retired cops. Joe Shaw was medically retired from the force in the 1990s. He is now campaigning for a compensation scheme. Photo. WA Police in Wadaday revealed Premier Mark McGowan refused to meet with the police union over a compensation scheme for officers forced to retire on medical grounds. Governments of both political persuasions have been talking about creating a workers' compensation scheme for police officers would be hoping this time they're serious. Vale Arthur Marshall. Colleagues from both sides of politics were mourning the death of long-serving Dawesville MP Arthur Marshall on Thursday evening. Vale, former Dawesville MP Arthur Marshall was much loved in Mandurah. Photo. Mandurah Male MR Marshall was a sharp leader, who made a great contribution to our local community, current Dawesville MP Zach Kirkup said. He described Mr. Marshall as warm and generous. Mandurah MP David Templeman said, Arthur made a great contribution to our local community as member for Dawesville. Deepest sympathy to his wife Helen and all of his family and friends, he said. We shall overcome and a rare foray into international diplomacy, the CFMEU wrote to Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, urging her to recognize recent presidential elections held in Venezuela and congratulate incumbent Nicolas Maduro, who reckoned he won 67.8% of the vote. A letter from the union's WA president Vinnie Molina, who is also president of the Communist Party of Australia's Central Committee, to Ms. Bishop was circulated to federal MPs on Tuesday by Venezuela's Australian embassy. CFMEU's WA president Vinnie Molina has weighed in on Australia's foreign policy, calling on Foreign Minister Julie Bishop to recognise controversial Venezuelan elections. Photo. Supplied. Ms. Bishop was having none of it. She said the Australian government would not be recognising the results of the so-called presidential election, and was deeply concerned at the deteriorating political, security, economic and humanitarian situation in Venezuela. Australia called upon the Maduro regime to recognise the scale of the crisis and to allow humanitarian supplies to reach the nation's long-suffering people, she said. Christmas will arrive early for fans of Brexiteer-in-chief Nigel Farage when he speaks in Perth in September. This follows visits from fellow Conservatives Milo Yiannopoulos and Lawrence Southern. Loading promotional material for the visit described Mr. Farage as the man who positioned the Brexit referendum as the start of a global populist wave against the political establishment, and the great disruptor of British and European politics. You be the judge. Tweet of the week this week from Acting Premier Sue Ellery.